Let's talk about Ben Affleck, Jim Lee, and the state of the DC fandom. Welcome to Strong Arm Flix. I'm your boy Tflame, and this is episode 33 of Strong Arm Flix. So I've been trying to make sense of what Jim Lee was actually saying. And I can't, the closest thing that I can think of has been racking my brain over and over about it, is that just straight up, his point was that when he said that the only thing that he will say about the Snyder Cut is that sometimes people basically try to single out a crowd and try to decide and say that, they're not DC fans, they're fans of this. I think that basically what he was actually trying to get at was that, Warner Brothers was basically thinking that, the people that were fans of Zack Snyder's and what he was building weren't the core audience. And that basically, he's saying that we need each and that me in the studio, we need each and every one of you guys as fans. We need all of you, all DC fans. And that's true. We need to come together. It's just hard for people like me because I know that Jim Lee is a very nice and respectable man, a very good artist. He's been working for DC and Warner Brothers and all that for a very long time. And I know as well that he also does support and is a good friend of Zack Snyder's, and Zack Snyder has a lot of respect for him. So, but it's just for me hearing that, it really wasn't much that Jim Lee said. It's just really not the time, I guess, that he can really talk about this whole Snyder Cut situation. But as far as I'm concerned, I feel what Jim Lee is saying, and on one hand, I really do agree with him. That's what does need to happen. We all need to come together. But see, the problem is that there is a side of the DC fans that are just willing to just they're just so, they just love the content so much that they're just willing to take anything that they can get. And I understand that. I totally understand that. You know what I'm saying? I've been there before as well. And, the thing is just that, like with me, it's just that what I got to say about that is just, some of us, it just don't settle right. What they did to him, what they promised us, and what they were building was just so magnificent. And the fact of, the tragedy that happened, unfortunately, and the way that the studio handled it, the way that the studio, everything that they did during that time frame was very shady. They advertised one thing and gave us something completely different, fired the director behind our backs. And just like the bottom line is, I'm not trying to drag it all up. We've heard the story over and over again. But the point is just that the fans are still extremely pissed off and don't have no faith left in the studio. They have not done anything to earn our faith, our trust back. They haven't done anything to prove that they are a director-driven studio like they say that they are. They have not apologized. They have not even came out with a statement. And so therefore, there is a large part of the fan base where it's split down the middle, where you have people that just, and you can't really blame them, they're just not on board. And they're not necessarily trying to boycott or no shit like that, but they're just like, I'm done. And that's their right as a customer. If they don't want to continue to go to the theater, it's not that they're persuading other people to not go out and see what they love, but some people just, they can't, the shit hits close to home. That's why we're all fighting for this vision, for Zack's vision. And on top of that, what Zack was building, the DC Extended Universe has not been the same since. And it's just that I understand them people cannot move on because, and how can they? There's not been no, the studio has not addressed this. The studio has not put out an apology. The studio hasn't even put out a fucking announcement saying, yes, for sure, we are going to give you your Snyder Cut, and we're not going to tell you much more other than the year. They won't even do that. They haven't even done that yet. So I can't be upset. I completely understand. And on some days, I'm that guy. I'm not going to lie. On some days, I'm that guy. But I'm also, my brain kicks in, and it's just like at the same time I know that these aren't the same people running Warner Brothers that were responsible for what happened to Zack Snyder. And at the same time, also, I love the DC Extended Universe, and I don't want to see it fail. Even though, yes, I'm very pissed off about what happened, I just can't bring myself to not go out and support the movies that they're creating now. If the movies are shit, I will speak out and say the movies are shit. And like I said, I was not a big fan of Birds of Prey. I thought Birds of Prey was shit. I don't think the movie was bad. I think the movie was mediocre. But in my opinion, the potential that movie had and what that movie should have done, it was complete shit. The movie flat out should have been about Harley Quinn and the Joker. Then after that, we should have got into our Gotham City Sirens with David Ayer directing it. They left Margot Robbie in control, and she didn't know what she was doing. And the females that she had working on the project, it's not a problem that they're females. I love women. I love women. I love my mother. I have a sister. I love my sister. I am not, one of these, what they call them, a woman hater, or what, I don't even know what it is that they call them, but I'm not that. I love women. I support women, but at the same time, it's just that like Christina Hodson, her only really, big project she had before Birds of Prey was the Bumblebee movie, and then you've got Kathy Yan, the director of the movie, and the only successful movie that she's known for is Dead Pigs. So they're very early on and inexperienced. Margot Robbie herself played a great Harley Quinn, but she'd only had one outing as Harley Quinn. So even Margot Robbie might have needed a little help, a little coaching, and it was just like a lot of women that weren't experienced. And just the idea, the script alone was shit. From the get-go, the whole idea of the script was shit. The fact they're going with the R rating, but not really embracing the R rating was shit. Not knowing who the target audience was. The marketing was just terrible. And it's just that, there's movies like that. I will speak out, but guess what? I still went and supported that shit. They still got my fucking money for that shit. And at the end of the day, I hope the next time around that they do a better job. But my point is that with this whole Snyder Cut thing, I know that, there's just a group of fans out there, and, it's hard to figure out where that line is, because I am an extremely big Snyder Cut supporter and Ayer Cut, but Snyder Cut primarily. And I know it's a tough line to walk, guys. And, it's just at some point, you lose sight of where that line is in the sand. And at the end of the day, I want us all to unite one way or the other. And I want us to be a larger, bigger, more conformed and united family. And we are for the most part. But I'm saying there's still a lot of division out there. And I hope that one day we can all figure out where that line is and we can make peace. And, and I know that for some of us, no matter what is said to them, that day is only gonna come for them when the fucking studio either A, comes out and apologizes for the shit they've done, B, does some type of, memoriam type deal for Autumn, or C, they release the goddamn Snyder Cut, and that's about that, And another thing is I want to talk about is I've seen that Ben Affleck, he's been coming out, came out again with another interview, and he was talking about Batman versus Superman and Justice League. And he said somewhere in there, he basically was saying that Batman versus Superman was like, working on that movie was one of the greatest times that he's ever had in his life. And that when he got around to talking about Justice League, he was like, in Justice League, cough. Then he started his sentence and basically said that the film was just struck with, tragedy after tragedy and mishaps, and that basically, we all know what happened, but he basically, he had a shit fucking time on Justice League, and that he fucking loves Batman versus Superman, and that it was one of the best movies that he had, most of the best time that he had ever had working on a fucking movie. So in my opinion, I don't think that he's gonna come back for a solo movie. I think that's a wrap now, because I feel like the studio gave full reign to Matt Reeves for a trilogy, which is fine. I have no issue with that. I have no issue with Pattinson as Batman, but at the same time, goddammit, Ben Affleck's always gonna be my favorite fucking Batman, hands down, and no one's gonna be able to change my mind about that or take that away from me. That does not mean that Pattinson might do a spectacular job, but either way, Ben Affleck is my favorite. And and the thing is just that that Ben Affleck will come back. He might not come back and do solo movies and all that shit, but if the studio gives Zack Snyder full reign to do reshoots and shit like that, Ben Affleck's gonna be down. The way he's been talking about how much he loves and respects Zack Snyder, and how he basically said he'll do anything for the man. The fact that he said Justice League, Batman vs. Superman, badass, had an awesome, amazing time, some of the best time I've ever had working on a film and shit. Read in between the lines, guys. The fact that he's got his alcoholism and his marriage shit is all, the divorce and all that shit's done and over with, and the fact that he's back on good terms with his wife. He's very happy about the movie The Way Back, and yes, guys, go out and see that fucking movie in theaters. Just, yes, it's not a DC movie, but still, go out and support Ben Affleck, because he is the fucking man, and what he is doing for us lately is just so much, and I did not expect it. I did not expect it on November 17th when he came out and tweeted, release a Snyder Cut. I never thought in a million fucking years that I would ever see this happen, but we did. We did see it happen. So you guys go out and support Ben Affleck. And if the studio ever tells Zack that he can come back and finish his Justice League arc and do Justice League Part 2 and even Part 3, Ben Affleck will come back to go out in a blaze of glory. And that's the flick. And if you like what you see, like what you hear, please smash that subscribe button and ring that bell. And as always, I will be bringing more DC and DCEU content, so subscribe for more of that shit. All of that shit. I appreciate each and every one of you. Till next time, my friends.